On this week's Haven't Seen It, we dive deep, deeper than we ever have before. Ezra Miller, the actor who had Hollywood by the balls. Superhero movies, indie dramas, A-list was in his grasp, and he threw it all away. Do Tim and Tommy determine if the perks of being a wallflower is where it went all wrong for Ezra? No, they don't. They have no psychoanalysis expertise whatsoever. All this coming up on Haven't Seen It. Subscribe on Apple and Spotify. Follow us on social media at Seen It Pod. Haven't Seen It with Tim Sestito and Tommy Tevenet. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Thank you all so much for listening today. This is a podcast where one of us is watching a movie for the very first time. And today, this is both of us.
Yeah.
Actually surprising because I'm watching this movie and I'm just like, oh, this is Tommy porn. Oh my God.
Like, oh, why did Tom pick this? Like, oh, of course he loves this trash. And I was just like, nope, I haven't seen it before either, Tim.
It's not trash. All right, it's not trash. I could see why a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
I think there's
being diplomatic.
decent amount of flaws in it, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Tommy, how's it going? I understand you went to the Connecticut Horror Convention. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. In Naugatuck this year, they had some good guests this year, like Mike Flanagan, who directed Dr. Sleep, and your typical Keith David, and your typical horror, like the guy who played Jason in one of the Jason movies. So it was a cool little place. I got a bunch of cool little posters to add to my horror little collection, and it's always a good time up there.
Was young Jason there?
Young Jason was there, so we had
he's at all of them.
Yeah, the little baby Jason was out there, so he enthusiastically was there. I didn't really meet any of these celebrities because lines would get kind of like long with that, and I was like, I only had so much time.
Did you do any networking? Did you grow the podcast?
I bought some nice magnets for my fridge, our screen based. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Clearly stuck to an objective there. I appreciate it. That's on me for not making you a t-shirt. That's on me. It's my fault. I should have gotten us t-shirts.
Just walking the halls. Yeah.
Just some stickers with a QR code. Just slap them everywhere.
Yeah. Get all that promo out.
Get all the promo out. Yeah, I'm glad it was a good time. I'm glad you had a fun time. What's the best poster you got?
I got a poster of Dawn of the Dead. So, the classic George Romero film, also filmed in Pittsburgh, just like this movie, and the Tom Savini connection, which we'll get into.
The Tom Savini connection.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into that Tom Savini connection. This is the perks of being a wallflower.
So what are you going to do when you get out of this place?
I really want to be a writer, but I don't know what I write about.
You could write about us.
Be aggressive! Passive aggressive!
Why do I and everyone I love pick people who treat us like we're nothing?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower. In select cities, September 28th. Everywhere, October 5th.
This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, a movie set in 1991 that somehow feels dated to 2012.
The hell coming... You finish it. You finish it.
This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, a movie set in 1991 that somehow feels dated to 2012. This coming-of-age indie drama inspired hipsters everywhere to purchase typewriters and wear cardigans. Charlie, a misfit, finds a crew of misfits in high school and becomes friends with them. He develops a crush on Emma Watson. Hey, buddy, take a number. So did every other millennial that watched Harry Potter as a kid. Nicholas Lebron also appears, and yes, he does have a rat tail. So, Tommy, it's kind of weird that we both missed this movie because we were both like 18, 19 when this movie came out.
Yeah, we were literally the demographic of teens that could have seen this movie. I think that, like you said earlier, the fact that this movie takes place in the 90s, but the trailer uses like that Imagine Dragons songs. I laughed out loud literally when I heard that trailer just pop up. Or it's just like, of course, they use like the most generic like early 2010 song like to promote this film, and nothing about this movie except for the music like it signifies that this would be early 90s, which I probably would appreciate more if I knew that.
It's weird because this movie deals with a lot of like heavy subject matter, maybe even
Mhm.
overloaded to a bit, where it feels like the three main characters, Patrick, who's played by Ezra Miller,
Mhm.
Sam, played by Emma Watson, and Charlie, who is played by Logan Lerman. It feels like they all have their own things going on, but for me, it doesn't fully come together, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
it hits all the notes, and I could see why somebody would really enjoy this movie, but I think it doesn't do the best job of explaining all of Patrick's drama, and it's kind of related to make this build up towards the end of the movie where he has a mental breakdown about like his relationship with his aunt, and I felt like they didn't like clearly state what was going on until like the last 10 minutes of the movie, and it felt like there was some like structural issues in the script that could have connected it better, and also just like all the references that they made, it really felt very Tumblr-esque circa 2012.
This was basically like the Tumblr movie, I gotta imagine. So what I didn't like about this movie was it just felt like the book, like Stephen Chbosky, who wrote the book also in the late 90s. It just felt like he kind of like threw a dartboard, like what are like hot button issues I can go over. And they didn't really, some of them felt forced, some of them felt fine with, Ezra Miller and like some of Logan Lerman stuff, but it was just like every character like had something, like even like the side character was like just like, okay, this is happening to you, this is happening to you, this serious thing is happening to you. And it's like it kind of felt like almost like a soap opera, like very melodramatic in that way, where it's just didn't really feel like a very natural, it felt like very heightened dramatic. Yeah, and it was just, I don't know, it didn't work for me in that sense.
Yeah, like Charlie's character, like it's all about his freshman year in high school. We discover in like the first 25 to 30 minutes that his best friend killed himself.
Mhm.
The summer before, we hear all these things about him having visions, and clearly he experienced some sort of mental breakdown, before the movie takes place.
Mhm.
And then and he spends a lot of time focusing on the relationship with his aunt, who is played by the lady who is in
Melanie Linsky.
Melanie Linsky. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, he talks about like, I loved my aunt. I could talk to her about anything. And
Mhm.
then in the last 10 minutes, it's slightly revealed, but not fully explained or discoursed, that his aunt molested him as a child.
Mhm.
And then she died, and he feels like it's his fault.
The script was kind of confusing in that sense, because when that happened with like the aunt and like the revelation that he had, like the breakdown, there was a part of me that was thinking for a moment, is like, is this movie gonna pull like the Charlie Just Imagine like Emma Watson and Ezra Miller card here?
Oh, I would have hated this movie so much if it was like, Charlie, you've been in an institution for the
Yeah,
past. Are you ready to join the real world? No, Sam and Patrick are here. They're gonna come back and visit me from college. They swore.
they're showing me a David Bowie song that I probably should have known beforehand, and they're showing me the Smiths.
How did they not know Heroes by David Bowie? Like I looked it up. It didn't hit the Billboard Top 100 in the United States, but David Bowie is a very, very big artist. How?
Yeah, not even the fact that he's just a big artist. They listen to music just like him, like the Smiths and like Sonic Youth. And you're telling me, I guess that we're taking out a more of a modern lens, because like for us, like you couldn't imagine that. But I guess the director himself, Steve Chbosky, admitted like it was kind of like, all right, I'll take that criticism, like whatever. But that's how his own life went. He said that like in the teenager in the early 90s, he only really knew Bowie as like the Let's Dance guy, the very poppy like 80s guy.
Mhm.
And he's like telling an interviewer like, you and John Malkovich, who produced the movie, and Jim Powers could all gang up on me and say, we don't believe it. I'll put my head on right hand on the Bible and say, in the early 90s, Bowie was the Let's Dance to me. He was that guy. The whole 70s Bowie because more into grunge. I came late to him. Listen, if you say to me the kids not knowing heroes is not realistic, I will cop to it. Anyone who has a bone to pick, I can't argue, but I swear to God, it was real. So it feels like 30 years ago, you could imagine, like, maybe they missed out on that period of Bowie.
I'm not saying it's not even not realistic. I'm just saying, like, David Bowie kind of always sounds the same when he sings. So even if they didn't know what specific song it was, determining who the artist is isn't out of this like realm of possibilities. And I get it. It was more,
yeah.
It was more for the ending when he gets his turn in the tunnel in the car and his woo moment, which I was like, this movie better end when they started wooing at the end when they were like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this movie went so long without having this like very cliche moment.
Yeah.
And then it had that moment.
The cynic in me was like wondering like if the movie was gonna end with like him finally wooing and then just like fucking getting clipped on the truck or something like that, just falling off.
Oh,
like this the ultra dark ending.
We're making a movie that would make us laugh and be like, I kind of like that. I like that but like this movie was like very well received.
It's good that the movie didn't do this.
It's well, for everybody else. For me personally, I would have gotten a nice chuckle out of it.
But yeah, the Bowie song though, Heroes. I mean, like once again, we talked about Jojo Rabbit earlier on the Film versus Film podcast, and that movie also ended with Heroes. And I just think is that like one of the best songs to end a movie with now. It has to be up there.
Well, it's almost overused, right? I mean, two pretty prominent releases, both using it. It's like, don't just leave that song alone for 20 years movies. You don't need to play it.
Yeah. There's a lot of Bowie out there.
So listen, we're definitely being critical of it, but it's weird. It feels like it's lacking a bit of levity. I think I would have enjoyed a little more, some more comedic moments. I think might have benefited this movie. It's very, very serious, and all these characters have very serious things happen to them.
The one part I want to point out, like that I felt was a decent source of levity, was his relationship with Mai Whitman, her from Arrested Development.
Her? Who?
Her?
Who?
What?
Who?
But yeah, the whole entire time that he was dating her, she was like talking his ear off on the phone, and like his dad's like, "Come on, like I want to use the goddamn phone at one point."
You gotta end this. I gotta use the phone.
Yeah, and like that's how you know the movie was in the 90s. That was the other cue, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't do a great job of setting up the time period, especially like looking back at this movie 10 years later. I feel like I'm staring at all the things that were like retro cool 10 years ago.
Like this is basically was just like I had no idea until I watched this movie, and even like I was 20 minutes or 30 minutes into the movie, and you texted me being like, "It's weird this movie takes place in 91." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like I just figured there's hipsters just listening to Sonic Youth because like that was a thing that was going on in 2011 for sure.
Tommy personified. You definitely had a Sonic Youth t-shirt.
I only actually started listening to him like a year ago.
Really? That just feels like you would have picked that up on Guitar Hero and then would have bought like 4 CDs or something like that.
There's a bunch of other artists that end up like that, like Joan Jett back in the day. I mean, I'm wearing the goddamn shirt as a recording. I don't know. I guess just missed out on that. But regardless, it just didn't feel very early 90s to me. I mean, no real signifiers. I mean, even I guess technology maybe, but they didn't really focus on like TVs or whatever, or
Well, I guess they had like the old CRTE TVs, and they had they were making mixtapes and they were all on cassettes. Like I guess the indications were there that.
Yeah. But mixtapes feel like almost like a bullshit hipster thing that would happen too.
That's the thing. It just feels like a bullshit hipster movie, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And my real question is chicken or the egg scenario. Which came first? Was all this stuff like happening and this just somehow coincided in the middle, or did this launch the hipster revolution?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it came at the perfect time where like this is a question I wonder if we saw this movie 10 years ago when we were 18, we would be like, oh, this movie's awesome.
Or we would have been like, it's so deep and and artful and
Yeah,
deals with mental health
so powerful.
and it does, and I don't want
Yeah,
to like take away from the seriousness of the movie.
I'll say that the performances here are really, I think the best part of this. I think
It
the actors.
it carries the movie. All the three main ones, Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, Ezra Miller, they're both absolutely fantastic. If this had a mediocre cast, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't fucking
I would
imagine
have
it. So.
I would have shut it off. I would have been like, Tommy, we're pivoting to Jaws.
Yeah, exactly. That's just always our backup because we saw that recently. Just like we're doing Jaws, we're doing Jaws.
Oh, fun! I was checking my AMC app. They're actually still showing Jaws in IMAX at the AMC.
Okay, yeah.
So you can still go see Jaws in IMAX if you have two eyes and a heart.
And assuming you're listening to this, now, not like 2 or 3 years from now.
Well, I mean, even if you are, you can probably 2 or 3
Yeah.
years from now, you could probably dictate what movie you want to watch at a theater just so they'll get you in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so,
my prediction.
Yeah, most likely. So the director Stephen Chbosky, he also directed what's it called, Dear Evan Hansen, which has been getting similar criticisms as we're saying about this movie, which is just like melodramatic. Just I don't know, feels a little bit like exploity, and with that, he's very much like very melodramatic teen, like almost soap opera kind of stuff. He wrote the novel right after he was having a bad breakup, and he wanted to ask the question, why do good people let themselves get treated so badly? And he wrote this in the summer of '96 when he was in college, completed in 10 weeks, and finished 2 more drafts afterwards. He based Charlie off himself, as one does. And then Sam and was like based on girls who confided in him. Patrick was based on all the kids I knew who were gay and finding their own way to their own identity. And then he started working on the screenplay, which took him a year. He wouldn't sell the rights to the film unless the studio also let him adapt and direct the film. So there's a version out there that John Hughes almost directed this, apparently, according to IMDb.
Oh, that would have been well, I guess it's late 90s Hughes, but it's still such a better movie if John Hughes directed it.
Well, yeah, apparently like the version of it was he was going to write and direct it, and it was going to be a dark comedy with Shia LaBeouf set to play Charlie, Kirsten Dunst slated to play Sam, and then Patrick Fugit would have been Patrick.
Okay, I don't know who Patrick Fugit is, but that's okay.
The kid from Almost Famous.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I'm here for that version.
I think that would have been really good, but Chbosky like really stuck to his guns. I mean, I have to kind of give some respect to
that,
yeah,
you gotta tip your cap to that. If you're just like, I wrote a novel, I have no directing experience, I can adapt the screenplay, but you're not making this. If you really want to make this, I'm directing the movie, and you don't get
exactly. He said like there are many offers, but I couldn't let it go. I didn't know how to sell something this personal, and especially what the book meant to the fans. I couldn't let it go to anyone else. I owed the fans a movie that was worthy of their love for the book. So yeah, you gotta respect it. I mean, to be honest, like this adaptation, I don't think was like a train wreck, but it could have used someone that wasn't maybe a slave to the source material.
Yeah, kind of like how we were kind of discussing with the Stephen King stuff, where he would end up slaving over his source material to make it as true as possible. It's like there's a reason these things don't, like, I don't know the structure of the novel, but I imagine you probably get primarily Charlie's perspective, some Sam perspective, some Patrick perspective. Like, I have to just I'm just making an assumption here. But even if it's just told straight from Charlie's perspective, you get so much more insight into his mind that they do a lot of, like, he writes a pen pal letter to nobody just because they need him to be able to talk and
narrate or whatever.
Yeah, because like a narrator structure wouldn't work for this kind of movie. That you need something a little more light, or like a little more fast pace and like big, right? Like I feel like narration works really well when you're covering a long span of time, not necessarily a year.
Yeah, I think that I would have liked to have this movie have more like of a hangout, like get to more know the characters more in a hangout sense. I mean, there's some brief moments here and there, like the car tunnel scene, but overall, I didn't feel like there's a ton of banter between the actors.
I would actually say one of the best moments in the movie is when Patrick kind of welcomes Charlie into the group. He had an edible. He tells Sam that his best friend killed himself, And it's just nice because for somebody that was struggling so much, this is the first time that he feels welcome in his early high school career.
Everyone, raise your glasses to Charlie.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. We just want to toast our new friend. You see things, and you understand. You're a wallflower. What is it? What's wrong?
I didn't think anyone noticed me.
Well, we didn't think there was anyone cool left to meet. So, come on, everyone. To Charlie.
To Charlie.
It's a nice moment, and for Ezra Miller's character, Patrick, he gets to be a little like he's very over the top. I think it's a really great performance from Ezra Miller, and like you could see why he ended up landing the Flash.
This apparently was what got him the role. So got them the role. So I think Ezra Miller is just very charismatic, and it just like kind of almost just like takes over the screen at some point. And it's just a very charismatic role in general. Just, he bounces off all the other characters, and they're like the life of the party. So,
and it's nice to see him like when he's always bouncing around, to see him be nice and kind of subdued. Should we talk about the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room, which is Ezra Miller? I guess now is as good a time as any.
So Ezra Miller, they have gotten to, I mean, if you've been paying attention to anything, litany of fucking crimes right here. I mean, like what, like arrest in Hawaii. They like threw a chair at someone at one point, like child endangerment or something like that, and like they have a ranch where like they're like doing drugs and like guns and shit like that. It's kind of insane to see, and the fact that the Flash movie is still going on as planned.
Well, all right. So I'm looking at his issues of controversies. So apparently he got during the filming of this movie in Pittsburgh, he got pulled over for having 20 grams of pot. It was just a disorderly conduct. That's fine. And then for a decade, there's nothing. Then apparently there was a video that leaked in April of 2020 of Ezra Miller strangling a woman, throwing her to the ground. He was then arrested in Hawaii in March of this year, 2022, for physical altercation with patrons and hurling obscenities at clients at a karaoke bar. Miller claimed they became arranged after being accosted by a Nazi.
Oh, Jesus.
He was then issued a order of protection against 18-year-old activist Dakota Iron Eyes.
It's a whole litany.
They said because of Miller's use of violence, intimidation, threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs. There's harassment allegations that against a 12-year-old. He was at something about a farm in Vermont. He then also had a burglary charge in Vermont. And on August 15th, that Miller apologizes for all his behavior. He is checked into a mental health clinic and is working on himself. Now, we don't know the full story, and we're not a gossip rag. So whatever it is, I hope Ezra bounces back. I hope for the best, because imagine being famous for a while can definitely take its toll. It's just very interesting because he was slated to have the Flash movie come out and have his own, he'd been doing that TV show on the CW for however many years.
No, that wasn't him. That wasn't them. That's Grant Gustin. So it's a different actor on the Flash TV show.
So they're like completely being like, oh, that was that thing for you guys, but we're gonna use a big boy. Good for Ezra for not having to do a CW TV show for like a decade.
It's like that's a TV show. This is movie. The movie, we have Ezra Miller. We don't have Grant Gustin. Fuck that.
And that the people at Warner Brothers are like, because it felt like for a period it was just like every week a new report was coming out against him. They were freaking out, being like, all right, we already put $150 million into this movie. Are we really going to have to scrap this movie because this guy?
It's like we did to Batgirl. We'll do it to another fucking DC movie. But we watch out, Ezra.
It actually ties in pretty well to this movie because this movie does deal with mental health. I think it's a little more traumatized than it should be in a health sense. I think it feels glamorized, right? Like all these kids that are under 18 have had molestation, tragic death, divorce, yeah, trying to come out of the closet, having a hidden relationship, suicide. Yeah, it feels like a lot for a movie that's a runtime of an hour and 43 minutes.
It doesn't feel like some movies like Kids or something like that, where it's just more about that. I feel like it kind of, in some ways, just glances over with the characters. It wants to be like a hangout movie and that too. And the vibes, I don't know, it doesn't mix as well.
Yeah, because like you get those scenes of them at the party and stuff. It was if it focused strictly on the drama and like the issues that these three characters were going through and like their bonds between their struggles, I think it would work better in that. If it just had them lightly mention it, like I think the friend suicide was the best mentioned one because it's just mentioned in a Passover. They do a toast to him and they kind of just move on from it. That's the other thing too. They just kind of move on from a lot of the stuff. Like they mention it, moving on.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's just like you could let that breathe a little bit and like let's explore like the characters a little more in that sense.
Like one of the best scenes was Patrick, kind of after he was dating the quarterback of the high school football team. His dad discovered them together and he beat the hell out of him. And he has like a really deep emotional thing where he's kind of confessing to Patrick all of his emotions
to Charlie,
and then Charlie's just like, yeah, that happened for about a week and then we're moving on. It didn't hit for me. I'm just older and cynical and it's just not going to hit me at like it would if I was 18, 19.
I really wonder about that. I feel like this might be a case of we just like missed the movie because like Roger Ebert in his review said something along the lines of like, the teenage version of myself that's still out there somewhere would have loved this movie. And I feel like that too, because maybe I would have been caught up in the music. Like Adventureland's kind of a similar movie in some senses to this. And that movie I love and adore.
Yeah, I feel like that nails the hangout more. Like that handles the blend of it. I haven't seen that in years, but that handles the blend of hangout movie and drama. I actually remember not caring for Adventureland all that much, but I think I was hoping for Superbad and
well, that's what the trailers like promised. And that's a movie that like slowly like built on me. First time I watched it, I was like, eh. And I watched it a second time that weekend, I remember, and I was like, okay, actually, I like this a lot more. And it introduced me to my favorite band of all time, The Replacements. So that's why it has a special place in my heart. But this movie could have hit like that for me too. I feel like maybe if I saw it, I was 18, but I don't know. Maybe it's just looking back. There's just like you look at teen characters and you're like, oh, you don't know anything about the world teens.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, they even stated to Charlie, they're like, when him and Sam reconnect for the first time after she goes away to college, she tells him like, it gets so much better. There's a whole world out there of people, all these different things. And I think that's sweet and kind of like, I feel like this movie has a lot of themes and doesn't really have like a clear, concise message about them. It's just events that feel thematic but don't carry a weight other than be yourself and wear a suit and be a writer.
I feel like a more refined screenplay, I feel like would have been better here because it definitely felt like maybe, and this is probably the criticism of the novel itself, that we're talking about, that if they just focus more on just like a couple of the characters and just refine it just to them and not go through like this character killed themselves, this character's sister, is getting hit by people. And these are topics, but it just felt like they were either glanced over very quickly and just not really cared about, where they just should have picked like one or two topics to focus on more.
Well, Tommy, you mentioned that Nicholas Braun, whatever the mullet, he slaps Nick's sister, and he gets very defensive about it, being like, you need to break up with him, like he can't treat you like that. I guess there's little signs that he, like stuff like that bothers him. when Sam tells him that she had been, you know, touched, taken advantage of by older men when she was younger.
Mhm.
Which it's like it's because it's weird because it's passing it along because it's like if 20-year-old guys are taking advantage of 14-year-old girls, like that's not cool. And the movie just kind of like blinks its eye at it.
It very quickly glanced over. So, and it's just in that sense where it's just like, okay, like,
And maybe that's a modern lens, like in 1991, and that it from all the stories that are coming out now, that kind of just it is what it is, right? Like, what are you going to do? Take these people to court? You're not going to. You're just putting a target on yourself if you report anything like that. But
mm.
I just, yeah, maybe it's just like the modern lens. Like this just wasn't going to survive post 2017 as like the way to handle like the way it treats mental health wasn't going to resonate with a modern audience the way it did 10 years ago, which feels weird saying that's not a modern audience.
Yeah. The fact that, like, already there's parts of this movie that feel dated, and it's just like, this is when we were young.
Oh, also, I know we didn't touch upon it as on a cliche, but Paul Rudd is the teacher.
He's in this movie.
He's in this movie, and his favorite student is Nicholas, and he wants these extra assignments, and he keeps handing him these books, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Great Gatsby, and then he's like,
On the
"This
road.
is my On the Road," and then he's like, "This is my personal favorite. It meant the most to me. It's my personal copy, and it's The Catcher in the Rye." And it's like, oh my god, this is so.
What's so funny is that, like, maybe this is, every school district is different, but like every single book we just listed right there, I'm pretty sure like I've read an English class in high school. So it's just like
You read the Spark Notes of Tommy. Very big distinction.
Well, I was in one of those English classes where we read the books in class.
Okay.
You just gotta let that sit there. So
sometimes you just gotta let it breathe, Tommy.
just let it breathe a little bit. But so anyways, Paul Rudd, I mean, like, he's Paul Rudd, he's nice, he's charismatic, but
he's only in one classroom. Like they were just like, yeah, Paul, we know you're a busy guy. We'll film your scenes in a day. You're only going to be in this classroom. You're not going to go anywhere else.
That's it. But the movie, like, at the end has that moment where, like, he has an emotional moment to Paul Rudd where he's just like, you're the greatest teacher I ever had. And it's just like, what did Paul Rudd do? I mean, Paul Rudd gave him some books, I guess, but like they didn't really build up like them having more of a mentor-mentee relationship. I feel like there was a lot of room floor right there, and they just kind of felt almost tacked on the end. Like, the screenplay didn't show it.
They give him the theme of the movie. We accept the love we think he deserves. That's where he gets the line from.
And that's, I guess that's enough. So, but I want to shout out the other teacher. We talked about this at the beginning of the episode. Tom Savini's in this movie. The special effects makeup maestro, horror extraordinaire. I literally, first thing when I saw this movie, I was like, the fuck is Savini doing in here?
And he's just like the grumpy Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
Shop teacher. Oh, it was great. And Patrick's Frank was painting all of his tools pink.
Yeah.
It was just nice to see Savini in there. He doesn't do anything, but it was just nice.
It was a good little touch. I was wondering like why he was in this movie because it's not horror at all. But apparently this movie is filmed in Pittsburgh, and Savini and George Romero are Pittsburgh legends. So it was kind of a nod to that, I gotta imagine.
I mean, this does have a pretty strong cast. I mean, Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, Ezra Miller, Mae Whitman, Paul Rudd, Nina Dobrev, who's model, I believe, Johnny Simmons, Kate Walsh, Dylan McDermott, Melanie Linsky, Joan Cusack, Nicholas Braun. Like I know, and Tom Savini. Like I know, Nicholas Braun wasn't, is relatively unknown, but now that he's in Succession, he's one of the biggest stars in TV right now.
Yeah, it's just crazy. They got all the cast. It's like that's always a good thing about like going back to these teen movies, like 5-10 years later, and be like, oh my god, look at the cast. This was stacked.
But even just like the adults I listed off for like kind of bit secondary third part, you know what I mean? Like third string parts. Like they just kind of pull. Like Paul Rudd could have kind of been anybody. Like I don't think he does anything to elevate the character. He just plays Paul Rudd as handsome English teacher.
Yeah, that's the extent of it. Joan Cusack shows up at the end and like not as really comedic, but and Dylan McDermott's just stern dad or whatever.
I'm Madam Chris.
And I'm Madam Amy.
And we're the hosts of the Madams Podcast, where it's all about movies, minus the mansplaining.
Every week, we discuss a film that fits into a quirky theme for the month.
And there's plenty of bonus content on our Patreon feed, too.
So if you're looking for commentary that'll make you laugh and think, you found your new favorite show.
New episodes of The Madams drop on Mondays, wherever you get your podcasts.
And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Madams Pod, or on our website, themadamspod.com.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I am a big, bright, shining star.
All right. So Tommy, who is the star of this movie? Who had the best performance? Because the movie's kind of carried on Charlie's shoulders, and I think he does a good job of carrying that weight, Logan Lerman. I think Ezra Miller gives the best performance, but if Charlie doesn't come through in terms of like the acting chops, like I don't think the movie works.
I think that like Charlie is definitely like the lead, obviously the lead and everything like that. But I think that like Ezra Miller is probably my favorite parts of this movie. His just performance is just very captivating. Very, you can understand why like the characters all like him, and like and he's just brings you into the world immediately, charismatic as hell. So I'm gonna go with Ezra Miller. They were great in this movie. So yeah,
it's weird. I mean, Emma Watson, we haven't really touched on her. She has a crush on, or Charlie has a crush on Sam, Emma Watson. And Emma Watson definitely kind of feels that way, but she's dating some college guy who was obviously cheating on her the entire time while he was at college. But they do have a very nice emotional climax when they finally get together.
I just didn't think that you wanted that.
Well, what did you want?
Well, I just want you to be happy.
Don't you get it, Charlie? I can't feel that. It's really sweet and everything, but you can't just sit there and put everybody's lives ahead of yours and think that counts as love. I don't want to be somebody's crush. I want people to like the real me.
I know who you are, Sam. I know I'm quiet. And I know I should speak more. But if you knew the things that were in my head most of the time, you'd know what it really meant. How much we're alike, and how we've been through the same things. And you're not small. You're beautiful.
So they goes for it, and they hook up.
How do you think of Emma Watson's American accent right there?
The American accent is so broad. It's not a Pittsburgh accent.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much. There's no yinza in that.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
It gets the job done.
All the English actors can find a way to do a good American accent. It's just an amalgamation of like all the European accents kind of just compressed into this like neutral tone. Yeah, it's what it is.
It's fine. Yeah, but I think that like Emma Watson, she was fine in this role. I mean, like I felt like a lot of the character in the script, it gave a little bit of a manic pixie dream girl kind of thing to me, to an extent, right there.
As I said, this is Tumblr porn. It was just like, let's take what's on here and shove it. But this book was written in the 90s, so
yeah, which came first? So I mean, this follows like a trend of other movies like this. We wouldn't have had Fault of Our Stars, Me, Earl and the Dying Girl, like movies like that. And I don't know. After watching this, it's like I don't think I need to revisit this subgenre.
No. This is a time capsule in a time capsule, and it might be best just leaving it in that time capsule.
Ah,
Are you ready, comedy partner? Waka waka.
Tommy, with the perks of being a Wallflower, work as a Muppet adaptation.
Oh God, yeah, no. It's just like this movie's just like a little too dramatic, and I don't want to see like Piggy talking about how like her dad's boss like kissed her when she was 11 or something. You know, it wouldn't work.
Oh, Kermie, my dad's boss would
Jesus
kiss me when I was
Christ.
11. Yeah, no, I can't really do a great Miss Piggy, but
Oh, Curry. That's more Mickey.
yeah, well, I'm not a trained voice actor. Yeah, no, this wouldn't work. Maybe the Rocky Horror Picture Show stuff would work.
Yeah, I mean that'd be extent to it. So I do want to touch real quick on Ezra Miller one more time. There's a report recently that he has like an altar at his they have an altar at their property, which is decorated with weed, sage, bullets, and flash figurines. A lot of times they make the women put their cell phones on the altar when they come in and other offerings. And Susan Sarandon, who's in Rocky Horror Picture Show, apparently didn't invite Ezra Miller to a dinner party, and Ezra Miller demanded that she go to their altar and like pay respects.
What is the source of this material, Tommy?
This is from Variety, Vanity Fair. So this is
Okay. I mean, listen, it's fitting the behavior pattern. I'm not gonna listen, Ezra. You're a great actor.
be better than Ezra.
Get well soon.
Yeah,
get well soon. That's my message for him. All right, Tommy. Review time.
I felt like we just shit on this movie for the past hour. It was fine. I mean, it was okay. The performances were good and like serviceable. I really like the soundtrack right here. I just felt like the script just didn't work for me, and it was my main issues with this movie. It just felt like this movie wanted to touch on so many hot button teen issues, and they didn't give enough time to spotlight specific ones or specific character moments. So I'm gonna go with 2 out of 5, mostly because the soundtrack and performances I thought were good, but otherwise, I don't think I'm gonna really revisit this movie, and it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, this movie's fine. You'll know if you like indie emotional stuff. It feels a little cliche. You're gonna like it. The screenplay feels like it's not giving us enough. It feels thematically kind of all over the place and trying to cover so much ground that it doesn't let what's happening on the screen like actually hit and resonate with you. It only really works at the end when Charlie's in the hospital. That's like the only emotional moment that I was like, oh damn, that's actually pretty powerful. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5 as well. It's not bad. It didn't hit for me. And maybe it's just I've outgrown this kind of movie, and I probably would have given it a 5 out of 5 4 out of 5 when I was 18, 19. But seeing this movie for the first time, like man, it felt like an amalgamation of everything that was popular in the late 80s becoming very popular again in 2011, and then throwing a bunch of like 2011 issues on top of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I fall on it. It doesn't really do anything visually that like stands out in like a filmmaking way.
The only thing that visually that I felt worked for me was the scene where like he's kissing Mae Whitman, and then it just turns to Emma Watson's face, and just as a little visual signifier. I thought that was a little color, but other than that, yeah, there's no real like interesting cinematography.
Yeah, it's shot kind of like flat and like a little dark.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't do anything special, and it's a critical darling, and I kind of get it. It kind of hits all the notes that people would be looking for. I just think it lacked the depth to be a true classic.
Same, yeah.
All right, so Tommy, any final thoughts?
All right, so thank you guys so much for listening. You can follow us on social media at Seen It Pod. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also check out Me and I with the Boys. I guested on their pod. I covered the movie Pray for them. It was a fun time. And next week, we're going to be covering here on Haven't Seen It, Field of Dreams, a movie I never saw before last month. So
I am so excited for Field of Dreams. You have no idea.
Is it just gonna be like a tearjerker of an episode where I'm just gonna break down or something?
We can make it that way if you really
Oh
want.
yeah, real intimate episode. So, but thank you guys. Leave us 5-star reviews, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Really helps out the pod, and thank you guys for listening.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week with Field of Dreams.